Hi guys, well, what a impactful and amazing day it has been. Bitcoin dropped from 58,000 to 48,000 or 49,000. So $9,000 in a day. It's a big drop, very big drop. So obviously a little bit scary watching. You always ask those questions: is this the end? Is this all over? Is this the end of crypto? And then you take a deep breath and you think, well, let's just be calm. This has happened before. I pulled out my absolute favorite guy, 0ld3ull Powell, since he was in the financial markets, and he's been in the financial markets for 30 years. He actually understands this. He's seen a lot of it before. So I was really interested to see what he had to say, and he just said, this is totally normal. 35% pullbacks in a bull market is normal. So what I thought I'd do today is really simple. I wanted to actually just go through quickly what we've done since we started Playabull. And this isn't everything, but this is just going to be the basic overview of what we've done. But I was thinking this morning, when you think back to where we started 2.5 years ago and where we are now, we have come so far. We are so much more mature as a project. We started off with the 4 founders, and then Michael joined as CEO, and then Jack actually, Jacinto joined us at the very beginning. He was working on a previous project with us. So Jacinto and Michael were the first 2 people on the Playabull team. And then we've just grown from there all the way up to, I think we're 49 people now at the moment across the world. So we've grown so much, and we've done so much, and we've achieved so much. So it's just so exciting to be where we are. And we literally are playing a waiting game, just waiting for the market to position itself to where people can get their heads into crypto. And we're like 3rd cab off the rank. So just say, if you're new here, this is how it's going to happen. Bitcoin is going to go first, and it's going to go all the way up. And on its way up, it'll have big runs, and then it will have corrections. And in those corrections, we'll get little runs for the 2nd tier alts. So that's Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, AVAX, etc. All right. So any of those top 10, top 20 coins, they'll have little runs, and we'll get little runs as well during that time. But at some point, Bitcoin will actually make its all-time high, and that'll be the end of the bull run, and it will start to come down. And when that happens, the 2nd tier alts, Ethereum, and those first 20 or 30, 10 to 30, 50 odd coins will go ballistic. And then when they roll off the top, then we'll get our turn. It'll be the alts' turn. And we are going to be in that very special group of potential 100 to 500x coins. And we're actually quite stable. We've been here for 2.5 years or 3 years by that stage, and it's going to be really exciting. But let me just bring this up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So Playabull Games, what you been doing there? I was just thinking, that made me laugh when I was just typing it out. All right, so the first thing we did obviously was the DApp. The Web3 team put together the DApp. So a lot of companies don't have a DApp. they just have a website or something. This is actually a different thing than a website. It actually runs the heart of Playabull Games, and it's got a bunch of code in there that actually makes things happen and talks to the blockchain. So from our DApp, you can access the blockchain and see what's going on. Next thing was the bull coin. All right, everything, the bull coin's used everywhere, and it's for in-game purchases. It's used for events. It's used for rewards, and you can buy and sell it on exchanges and on the marketplace. Masternodes, the beating heart of our ecosystem. It supports the blockchain, ownership benefits, get access to the VI3, and it's automatic entry, by owning a node, automatic entry into a node hodl competition. Referrals, so we've built out our node system, by the way. That's fully functional, and we're about to turn on stage 2 just next month or so, I believe. So stage 2 is coming on. We're going to give you a notice about that soon. And then stage 3 will be early new year. So the nodes will be fully functional. You'll have to run every single node, and it's going to be great. Referrals. We have a referral system, if you didn't know. So these are all programmed and talking directly to the blockchain. So there can't be any mucking around. It's just if you refer someone with your code, you get paid. So there's a complete referral system built, talking back to our chain. Our very important bull, the VI3s. Our founding membership NFT provides easy access to our play-to-earn games, early access to game previews. You obviously get to do testing and stuff for us, and we also ask advice of the VI3 sometimes, what they want, what they think is important, and there's a growing list of benefits there. The Bull HODL competition. So this is our form of staking, if you want to call it that. It's not actually staking because you don't have to lock anything up, but it is just a reward system. You buy a ticket, costs 100,000 bull to buy a ticket, and then every week there's a draw, and you can have as many tickets as you want. So some people have a lot of tickets, other people have a couple. I've always promised I only have 4, so I've only got 4, but I know people that have got like lots. But it's a great way to add to your bottom line, and also HODL, which helps the coin. So we currently have 1.7 billion coins tied up in that competition. So that's a really big achievement. So those 1.7 are pretty much stable, just staying there and earning. We have a node HODL competition. The node HODL competition is designed to reward just the node owners. So if you own a node, every node you own buys you a ticket every week into the HODL competition. So that's purely based on the nodes. So if you've got one node, you get one ticket every week. And again, it's just another way you can earn. This is Old Man Smithers put this together as wanting to reward the node owners with extra things. Again, all these are built in the blockchain. So this is not just like a guy gets a couple of leaflets out and raffle tickets and we draw it. They're all actually built into the blockchain. So the Web3 team has actually built all this. We have the Bull NFT generator. So you can actually, this was the first in the world of its kind. So where you can actually build your NFT by the parts you want. So you get to choose what you want. So this one we're looking at here, you can actually see it's the bull background. So it's got the bull coins in the background. He's got Christmas horns, white skin, silver eyes, Cuban cigarette, wearing a prison suit, bow tie, nothing on the ears, emo head, and nothing on the nose. So that costs 800,000 bull to buy. So being able to design your own NFT, the idea behind that was really simple, was that when you buy an NFT normally, you just get a randomized one and you might not even like it. At least with this way you get to randomize your NFT, and then you can push mint, and it mints that to the blockchain. So you own it and you can sell it on the marketplace you choose. When all 4,000 are sold, 3,333. All right. Playabull Games blockchain, all transactions are executed on our blockchain. Everything Playabull Games happens on the blockchain. Everything's open and transparent. It's one of the first Avalanche subnets. We also have a completely separate operable testnet for deploying and testing all our contracts and systems. So when we're doing our development, we have the Playabull Games testnet as well, so we can actually test things to make sure that they are working before we deploy them. We built a marketplace, so everything can be sold on the marketplace. When you earn something in game, you can take it to the marketplace and put it up there to get rewards, and everything uses Bullcoin on the marketplace. So, the amount of time and effort that the Web3 team did to put these things together is astounding, and we've got a really strong position now as a company, because when you talk about what we've got compared to what other people have, we're miles ahead, miles and miles ahead. We've got the bridge. Okay, so the bridge interacts between other blockchains and Bull, and cross mint. So mint nodes and other chains using tokens on those chains. So that's new. Nexus skin system reward chests. This has just been finished on the 12th. There's actually a bug in it at the moment, and we're just fixing that bug. The bug is that the randomized traits, the wear and tear and the grime, doesn't actually show in game. They're all there, the actual skins are minted with them, but it's not showing in game. That's being fixed on the 12th of this month, so 6 days away. That should be fixed, and all the skins that have already been generated will immediately look different. So, but they won't change from what they were. They're just going to look how they should. So this means that we have a completely circular economy inside Nexus. So this doesn't cost us money to actually run. We've developed a system where collecting these skins is going to become more and more valuable, and there's some skins going to be worth a lot more money than others. And if you win one, then holy smoke, like this one here in the background, that's a demon. There's only 3 of those in the world at the moment. So yeah, they're very, very rare. And then we've got play to earn. So we've got an access. So one of the problems we've had this year is that in our play to earn, people have been actually, what's the right word? Cheating is the right word. Being dishonest. And they use all these different ways to try and scam the system and get more rewards than they deserve. And so we've ended up having to have a play to earn pass. And so this is something that can be taken off people, and it's linked to your computer. So it actually reads your computer, the IP, and if you are breaking the rules, then you're banned, and this thing gets cancelled, and you have to buy another one. And so yeah, it's a very good way for us to actually control. It had to be developed, and then we had to make it, and then we had to actually implement it. So again, another great thing. And our final thing we've done this year is we've brought in fractional nodes. So again, world first as far as we know. This is a chance for people who can't afford a full node at 6,600 at the moment to actually go in with a couple of mates. They might go in with 2 mates, and so that's 2,200 each. And so that's much more affordable, and a node's going to be very valuable later on. So obviously you can earn on the way through, and as nodes get more and more valuable, then once they're all sold, you'll be able to trade them if you want to trade them. So it's going to be, yeah, that's again, the work to go into this and to get this up and going, absolutely amazing. So that's what we've been doing for the last 2.5 years. It really is a lot of fun. We're really happy to be where we are and to have achieved what we've achieved. So I know we're in a dark couple of days. This is what I call the storm. And when you're in the storm, everyone's fearful. Everyone thinks the ship's going to sink. The ship should be fine. There's no trouble with the ship. The crew's on deck. We're looking after everything. We've reefed the sails. We've put out the sea anchor behind us, and we're just slowly putting along in a storm. And the storm's going to pass, and we're going to pop out the other side better than ever. And we've got some really exciting stuff coming. So it's going to be amazing. Now, to follow this up, I'm going to put about a half an hour segment of a 2-hour meeting we had the other day. This is with the War of Steel team. We haven't shown you very much about War of Steel, what's been going on, but this is now, we've been doing all the programming in the background, so all the actual programming. To put it in a nutshell, when you program a game, anyone can make a game these days. It's really quite easy. You just go to Unreal Engine and you start using blueprints, and you can make a game. So they will work, but it's not perfect. So the reason it's not perfect is it's not optimized. And so if you've got more than about 30% blueprints, the game doesn't actually run very well. And it means that when you try to expand the game and grow the game, then it just gets worse and worse. So what they've been doing is putting all the blueprints that they've built into C++, and we've now got pretty much all the programming done for War of Steel, and they're now bringing in the art. So have a look at this. You can just skip through it if you want. You can watch the whole thing. It's quite informative. I've just edited it up and got rid of like boring, just where people are just blaring on about very particular things. But there's a couple of funny things in there that I found funny. And it does give a really good overview. It's a 4 kilometre by 4 kilometre map. It's pretty much roughed out now. There's 7 zones, I think. It's going to be a fantastic game, and we've got an alpha coming for that before the end of the year. So that's going to be live in alpha before the end of the year. So it's going to be 4 games in alpha by the end of this year. So very, very exciting, and we're going to be blasting. So there you go. The storm will pass. Playabull's absolutely fine. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. That's me. I'm out. Ciao.
Okay, well, okay, I don't know if you guys can see my screen at the moment.
We can.
Okay, cool. So code-wise, what we've primarily focused on up to this point is the foundations of the actual project. So the foundations being the networking sublayers. So if you have a look at basically my screen at the moment, if I move all that stuff out of here and I go into our plugin that we've developed. So over here, we've got the Battle Royale aspects of it. But if we come down to the subsystems, here's where all the networking handling's been going on. So basically focusing on integrating like EOS with PlayFab, making it so those things actually play quite nicely. And then from there, setting up the dedicated server aspect so that when it passes through from EOS to PlayFab, it actually comes in and sets up a game as required. Now, within the game aspect of it, what we've worked on is actually getting some of the character combat and stuff happening. So, for example, if I hit play right now, yeah, let's just, come on, just waiting for this to catch up. Okay, so basically, for example, at the moment, if we go pick up this item, this is a Cairo beamer. Basically, as you can see, I'm just firing off some laser shots. So what we've worked on is setting up a projectile system that also works with a latency system. So, for example, in most shooters, as you're probably aware, when you fire a shot, you expect it to go where you're pointing. But then when you have a latency, say, of like, 20 milliseconds off or something, if you're not accounting for that in your projectile system, players start to think that there's something going wrong. So that was one of the subsystems that we've been working on with the projectile system. So as you saw, we also have the item pickup system. There's a number of different items. So we've set up basically base versions of all the main items that exist. So equipped. So we've got them all here. We haven't got the meshes for them, obviously, yet, because that's an art side thing. They can answer those questions. But we're building basically the different projectile systems that exist for each one.
Yeah, okay. So abilities are essentially the core point of the game, where you essentially have different weapons. They have different properties. They do different things. They have different VFX. So Sam has been working on the ability system, which is essentially all of the differences that happen in gameplay. So if it's something that's being dropped and you're then picking it up, Richard made the equip system, but the abilities are actually attached to the projectiles that he's firing. And when they get attached, they have an effect. The important aspect is that they are fully network replicated. So they all work in a high performance network replication system, which is what the plugin that Sam's been building is for. Is that a good summary, Sam? Do you have any other items to add on the two abilities, or do you want to go into build automation?
Yeah, nothing more on abilities. There's a few other, like a handful of other plugins that we have worked on for this as well. So like the minimap is one.
We've also built Storm itself, the Storm system.
Oh yeah, the Storm system.
The crafting system's underway.
Yep.
And there's the UI. We have a UI management kind of system on top of everything that allows us to easily just manage the state of the UI and have everything replicating nicely. So a lot of those core kind of systems that you need to get things to work, which may not be too like visually prevalent at the moment, are all in there and making good progress.
So what is the scale of this map?
This map is about a 4K by 4K map.
Okay. All right, good.
Yep. So,
carry on.
Sam, do you want to go on with build automation?
Yeah, sure. So we also have, build automation fully completed now. So we can set that up to build on some kind of schedule, maybe daily, whatever's preferred. But yeah.
Can that build to the Epic Store, or is that just to Perforce?
That's where it's going, Epic Store.
Right, cool.
Yeah,
okay, so that's the dev stage, I guess.
Yeah,
or is that
pushed up there? to
Okay,
the dev
cool.
branch.
Yeah.
All right.
well,
You can go next to Bib.
I've been working on integrating the movement system plugin into the project. So that just handles all the movement of the mechs and replicates it across the network. We've built upon it to add dashing and jetpack motions for like the mechs to be flying up in the air and dashing around the ground. And all that's in now and replicated. But it's still, with like further input from you guys, still needs to be refined. So exactly how you want the field to be, how you want the momentum to be based, that's something that we can work on after you let us know with playtesting. So functionality's in, replication's in, but the feel is up to you guys.
So did you use the Q-Bold movement system for that?
We use them for the animations. So they are just animation files. The movement system itself is our movement system. And it basically is built for network replicated games. So yeah, all the Q-Bowl animations are in. These are them right there running currently.
Yeah, the animations and the actual movement are like two parts of the same systems. The movement system talks to the animations and plays them, but the plugin that we've integrated talks to the server and lets all instances of that same unit across the server do the same thing. So it's basically making sure the mech is moving on the same way and same methods from each client. So there's no disparity. So if you're flying on your end, it's communicated to the server and it's flying on the enemy end as well.
Yeah, so full dash and flying is set up now. So we've got all the movement done for the mech. We just have to make sure that you're happy with the feel. Also, you know, that'll be something that we'll continue to refine because Saban can talk about the animations that tie in to the movement. Do you want to go over some animation stuff, Saban, and rigging?
Yeah. Should I screen share?
If you want
Or are
to. This actually does take longer to do it this way, but we've had bad experiences with just relying on Epic's blueprint system.
Yeah.
Like a lot of even the animation nodes you may see are actually custom built by us as well, just so that they're faster in C++.
Yeah, so Saban's sharing the animation. Basically, do you want to talk about retargeting or wherever you want to go, Saban?
Yeah. So we're going with the runtime retargeting method, just based off previous experience, working with characters of different proportions. It's a lot easier to manage that and have animation shared across all of that rather than having a bajillion different animations for each different skeleton. So we've got our base mannequin character who's hidden at the moment. And then we've got our robot. This is just one off the store. We're still developing an actual character mesh from concept art. And yeah, that's just being retargeted in real time with a runtime retargeter animation blueprint. And that's just using Unreal's retargeting methods. This one hasn't had anything special added to it yet. It's just, the automated stuff just to get it working and visualized. And with that, we have the animation blueprint, which is just at the moment, I'm just getting all the basic stuff in, all the basic movement. We've got the animation split between the legs and torso, so we can have easier management of aiming and stuff. That'll make it easier to implement ADS later. We've also got, root your offsets. So I think I'm aiming for a Fortnite kind of feel. We want it to feel snappy. We want it to feel responsive and accurate when you aim, obviously. Yeah, at the moment, it's not really much to look at, but it is getting there. I've got almost all of the basic math in. And then when it comes to the retargeting, we've got all the basic IK stuff that you'd need. Again, not really final blueprint stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, so basically the IK systems are used to move the mech around, stick the feet onto the ground, also do the skinning of the mech. Even though we've got different sizes of mechs, these will work with the Q-Bowl animation set, and they'll all scale with all of the different sizes of mechs. So even though small mech is much smaller than the giant mech, the big mech, this retargeting system that we have here lets us basically share animations across everything, which makes it high performance because there's not a lot of different animation blueprints in the project. When you have a lot of them, it can cause a performance hitch. So you basically just want to have, you know, one set of animation that all the mechs share. That animation set will handle all the different weapons. It'll handle all the moving, all the jetpack motion, all the dash, all that sort of stuff.
So essentially, we've kind of locked down what we're looking for with you and the teams at Playabull on the different types of mechs, like sizing. And so, you know, we've got a light, medium, and heavy. And we've gone through and started to produce key arts to essentially, you know, showcase these mechs in another light. Additionally, we've been refining the sketches as we're gearing up to hand them off to our character team to actually get modeled and put into the game. So basically working with the 3D team on the character side to get these mechs in a place that it's easy for them to read, it's easy for them to transfer from sketch phase into 3D phase. And then, you know, we've gone through and we've got a block out that we're currently in the process of implementing into the game. We've also been doing a lot of like world exploration, so understanding kind of, well, you know, what is this world that the characters and we're kind of inhabiting a bit more artistically, and what that kind of looks like. What's the visual aesthetic to the world that we're building? So, and we've also been exploring the type of arenas that the mechs themselves will be fighting in. Anita's been doing a lot of the work in engine and on the pack side of things. So I'll pretty much let Anita kind of go more in depth on the 3D side and what she's been doing there on that. But like, this is from us, like rough concept explorations, taking the block outs and then trying to basically paint over them and seeing like what we can put in there to get, you know, different styles. In terms of what's upcoming, like this is like a photo of the rough block out. This is us now refining that into more of a usable high poly mesh that then will basically translate into an in-game model. We're also in the process of doing an entire map paint over of the block out. So taking the full block out of the entire map and then essentially mapping what biomes and areas go where into the entire, basically the entire map. So we'll have like a visual on that.
So you should be seeing everything now. Should be seeing like my whole desktop, right?
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. It's a big monitor. Okay. And then what happens is it auto computes that and then goes into another system. And all this is performant, by the way. And then it allows the artist to come in and manually input meshes through these little inputs here, right? So any mesh can be used with this system, right? So now, so there's the bottom floor, which is here. So you have corners, pillars, doors, and all this. All these mesh spawners will have a whole array of options.
Do we have a visual example, maybe?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, let's just go
Yeah.
with one.
Let's put that in the level and show the guys.
Cool. So yeah, so you grab it and you drop it in like that, and it builds a building for you. That's pretty visual. So basically, then what happens visually, down here. So you've got, so when the artist or the level designer comes in and puts it in the level, they just drop it in and they say, okay, cool. So how many floors do I want?
6.
6. Put 6 in, bam. It gives you 6. That's width, actually. So I did the wrong one. So let me.
No, it's gone.
Not wrong slot. So, okay, height is here. So floors are here, 6. Boom.
There you go.
6 floors, okay? Now, I'm still working on the roof, by the way. Just so you know, the roof isn't finished, okay? So that's 6 floors. And then I say, well, I want like width across. I want a building that's 10. So I come in here, I put in 10. It automatically generates 10. The length as well. So I want that 10, right? 10. So you get this big block building, and then we go up. So let's say I want, this is pretty much unlimited. So go 40 up, just keep going up like that. You can do skyscrapers. Now, every single one of these components is its own piece. So every single thing here you're seeing, these are just the Quixel assets, right? For now. But every single component is its own piece. So you can modularly swap out every single piece up until even like this little trim here. Okay, so going back down, I'll just because there's a fair bit with this. It's yeah.
Maybe we should do a detailed video.
I'm going to do a detailed video, and I apologize. It's a lot, but like it's just like I'm going to do a like instruction video because there's heaps of features. Like
have a system that lets us change it easily, and get it perfect for you guys. These are all nanoed art assets, so there's not going to be a performance problem with these.
So what program is this that's doing this? Is this auto build?
This is Unreal.
It's Unreal.
So it's all done in Unreal for you.
PCG, procedural content generation. And this sort of workflow, they used it in games like Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 on PS5, PS4. Basically, we use it to get kind of like the base of the building, and then our artists will come in and do sort of finer details and set dressing and things like that, like more manually to kind of give it that extra bit of love and attention and that feel.
Yeah. All right. So let's go a little bit over. Are you cool, Anita, to show some environment stuff?
Yeah, let me figure out how to share my screen. I would like to go entire screen. That guy. Let's go. Can you see my screen? You can. Mine is way less exciting than Steve's because I can press a button and then my game looks up and then I get trees. But it's a bit hard to demo because unlike Steve's that is kind of instant, mine tends to lock up for a couple of minutes, so it's a bit slow to show you. Basically what I'm working on is the foliage, and when I say foliage in Unreal can mean anything from a tree, a literal foliage, to rocks, to cliff sides. It's basically instanced set dressing bits. But all these are procedurally generated. There's also, we have weather systems in that I was messing with today. So in the snowy bits, you can go, hey, little radial storm, I would like you to be a full-on blizzard, which is why there's all of a sudden, you know, a terrain material. And if we go over here, I've also made a little start on the desert. It has a dust storm that you can mess with if you want to really not be able to see anything. And I've started setting up the procedural placement of rocks and stuff. So all these are, you just put a big volume in and it picks rocks, and see how these like little bush guys, they're currently only set to grow on slopes, but you can adjust those parameters. I need to set up my larger rocks, which is why we still have little spiky cones, because at the moment I'm basically working from the smaller stuff up as I get my head around the scale, and also mostly because I can set up all the smaller stuff while I wait for Bryce's full paint over, because I don't want to go into like, you know, putting in these big bridges and stuff until we have the paint over. But for now I can do all this base building stuff. My guy's not going to walk because I don't have the update that has his walking.
You've got the
I've just got the roller skating robot at the moment. If we swap to, this is a different project, but it's using same systems that I just haven't had set up in that yet. So these are some examples of using splines, which are basically lines you can draw to drive things. So for example, these rocks, if that's the right one, I can just change a slider and they can be more or less, and you can change the scale of them. and stuff, which for this, like, it's a fantasy game, so just doing like a little path. But for the mech game, that's how we would be doing roads and that sort of stuff. So you can, the road has bollards and gutters, and you can do all that sort of stuff, because even like the bushes that are along this, that's the wrong thing, but the bushes are driven by that, all these flowers that are put along these fences, and like for cables and stuff that we have systems for doing like power lines and stuff. So if we want any cables and stuff, I will liaise, that's the word, with Steve to set up systems if we want to have power lines or neon lighting or that sort of stuff. And then let's just focus on the like more bespoke PSS. Yeah. Like the big set pieces. This lets us, fill in all the rocks and shit that you don't want to spend hours placing. And then we can, spend time putting in, the big mining facility that's over here. And there's like a snow research base, so we can spend time, populate this with all the trees and rocks and stuff, and then use a combination of Steve's procedural system to build the base for this, and then bespoke assets on top of that. And then it becomes easy to modify. If you go, actually, we don't like the ramp there, and we want the trees over there, you change some numbers, and then it regenerates, and you can modify it, instead of some artist having to go in and move things. And with the combination of Dash and Steve's system, we can hopefully have it so you can just draw a spline out and it puts in the entire ramp, including the pylons and any lighting and all that sort of stuff. Right.
Oh, I love how Unreal does it. It's so fun when you click on it. But yeah, so the biggest things he mentioned was that you guys wanted the 4x4 kilometer Fortnite-sized map and multiple biomes. So I spent a lot of time looking at how Fortnite does it, and they've got main biomes, but I've broken them into each separate area. So like on the left-hand side, you got the dam complex, the approach, and the forest. So in my head, I've envisioned like that kind of redwood, really tall Endor-like forests. And each one's broken into those three areas, because I figured like a lot of those, I'm more into like the Apex I've played, where each section has got a different area and it will change the names, but it's one overarching biome. They got the arid and an active mining zone, which are more of like a deserty, which is what Anita's been working on. Big open areas. Mech Warrior does a lot of really cool cover, so like big tall rocks, crystals, and things like that players can run around and hide behind. So again, snipers just can't fire at you from huge distances away. And then in the active mining zone to the right-hand side, I've played with ideas that Stephen's given really good suggestions on, where you've got the big, I can't remember what the name of that, but those big mining wheels where they they turn and dig into the rock for active cover. So as they move at a slow pace, it'll open up opportunities for players hiding behind them to be able to shoot through or be shot. And then the black lines you can see where her cursor is right now are conveyor belts. So in-game lore, in my head, those conveyor belts have got to shoot their dirt and rock somewhere. Those conveyor belts will carry it away to big slag, dusty rock piles, and players can also, with ramps, get up on top there, so they've got fast ways to transverse across the map, and also so they can hide from snipers, because there's a couple of points you can get up a little bit higher just to see that area.
5 points all around here, if I remember correctly.
The last update, you guys mentioned that you weren't happy with the map with being able to see, so I spent a lot of time blocking up, adding walls, changing the height map. So like the desert area mining, arid mining zone, if I'm going with the naming conventions, has been dropped. So if you just zoom into the giant complex right at the back there, Anita.
Okay.
No, that's, or to the left. So you can see here I've dropped it down quite a lot. So if you zoom into player level, now it's very hard unless you get right up on top of those dunes there, which we can add in more blockers and things like that. But you can see at this level here, I've dropped this complex down, because this complex was a lot higher, about I think 25 meters or so higher. It was on a hill. And you mentioned you weren't happy with the fortresses, so it's been dropped. I've kept the same kind of feel, open, lots of cover, but the players now just can't see across the map. I've tried to limit it so they can only see to these little sectioned off arenas.
And even if there's like a long field of view, we can always put like a mesa or like a structure or something. Like we can put some little like warehouses or dumps of something.
Yeah, that's it. I've tried to keep it fairly open and just based off like that Mech Warrior and games that Stephen's played and things I've researched, because I didn't want to take too much away from Bryce's team. So like we can fill it up with assets and things that they envision because they've been doing some really cool stuff. But for the time being, like for a playable block out, just so you can run around, shoot, and we can find out, oh, we really don't like open spaces, or we really do, and we really hate tight packed spaces. I just wanted to keep it to basic cubes and spheres and try and experiment with different spaces. So like if you zoom into the upper city, which is on the left-hand side, just there, straight. Yep. You zoom into there, this is more of an example of like close quarters combat. So lots of roads, buildings are super packed and dense together. There's no fat shaming, which as I mentioned was something that you mentioned. You didn't want the biggest mechs to feel cramped. So even though it's packed in, there's still lots of height, lots of width. So players can, fantastic.
Yeah.
Can run around. But yeah, so if you, well, when you're ready. So so if you just run towards like the Rotunda building, which we were just looking at.
I don't know if you use the word rotunda with the word fat.
Well,
it's but I'm glad there's no fat shaming.
That's a real dad joke, that one.
Play myself.
But yes, I mentioned that was something you guys were worried about. So I made sure the map scale was big enough. But you can see here, like there's lots of little places to run around, jump in, look through. So if you could run through that building, just to give an example to these guys just here. Again, I apologize. I'm not playing on my version. I'm still learning with.
And then again, like there's the concept art that we have.
Yeah, so this is a paint over of this exact section, basically one of the arch bridges with the ramp. So if you run up, I love the roller skating. It's fantastic.
No, it's beautiful. It's fine. It's fine. You
gives me Jet Set Radio vibes, which is completely irrelevant. But that's what I'm saying.
Wait, how do I jetpack? What button was it for that?
I can't remember. I did see that was put into the newest one.
You probably don't have it because you don't have the walking right now.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the dam complex just to your right, Anita. So I've used pack assets, one to keep my asset outliner clean, which is something that Stephen has got me to do, which is really good. But got lots of different areas to run around in the forest, and these are all the same kind of structures. So I know that we were going to do the modular building pack, so I've made the basic shapes of all of like the different little structures you can run up. You can see like where the multiple towers are and things like that. They're all sharing the same internal structure. Something like this, So yeah, just lots of places, lots of height. Again, so like the bigger mechs with the more health have got to go the long way up all these ramps, whereas the lighter mechs have the disadvantage of they can kind of hop the way up to get maybe take a breath from back. But the bigger mechs.
Telstra's getting you again, Josh.
He's water skiing. We know he's water skiing.
Yes. in the weather we're having at the moment, oh boy. Yeah. So basically, like this is a cool area. Oh, if you're wondering, the little spiky boys are rocks. The little pylons are trees. So when you see them around, that's what those are representing. I don't know if you've seen this concept art, so I'm just pulling it up because you mentioned you hadn't seen some stuff. So
we haven't seen much of it. No.
Okay. So these are sort of the similar, like, if actually this might be that literal place just there. You know, these ramps will be built out, and we can use some interesting procedural things to do the repeating shapes on that. And then, like I said, lots of little hidey holes and lots of stuff. And then we'll replace these like kind of blobby mountains with actual mountains. That's one of my jobs for this week, is going through and fixing these little lumpy guys and making them into less lumpy guys, like they're in the concept art. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good rundown of where everyone's up to, roughly. Like, you've now seen a lot of the work that's being done.